Hi, it's David here with Futures Trading. I want to answer your question, Jimmy, as well as Lionstone Trading. All right, you guys had left me some questions here, but before doing so, I'm gonna go ahead and just point to this before doing so. When I shot this video here, you can kind of see some information right there. Well, this information that was right there is in this video. I had actually drew out a trend, and deals with the questions that you guys are asking me. I drew out that trend in this video, all right in this video. And then here they killed that trend. And I told everyone, even in this video, and I've covered it before, I have, because they'll put two trends on the board. They'll do it all the time. I told everyone in that video, don't be confused about that target. So they made the trend and we were projecting that distance. All right, we were projecting that distance that they supposed to had hit, but they didn't want to make it. They turned and clipped the trend. Now I drew these zones in this video using the majority principle. I drew those zones, letting you know that, hey, if they're going to turn and go up, it's going to be from here. If they're going to turn and go back down, well, here's a couple above you, but there was some targets a lot higher than these zones that they supposed to have hit. Well, I drew all of that again in this video. I kind of just came back right here and just showed people, hey, they were hitting that zone. They were going up. It potentially was headed back up. Okay. Definitely, I'm certain to get that target, and that's what they did. That trend distance target was still right there, and the reason why I'm saying this to you, and you can see they kissed the back of the zone. I mean, you can go back and look at the video. They kissed it to the tick and turned around and went up, and they went up even higher. The reason why I'm showing you this now, let's go back to your question. All right, let's go back here because you have to know, and I said it in that video, these guys got intentions, and they can absolutely deliver the experience that they're able to do. I mean, that they're the participants that control the whole thing, and they have the function to get it done. They can complete it. We have primary and secondary values. That's what we have, and that's what the ambition is to try to actually do something to try to achieve the primary. We'll settle for the secondary, but what drives us is the primary. So when they put a trend on the board, that distance is really important to them because they put the trend on the board. So it's important that they hit it. Now, the original thought, which is the trend, that's the original thinking. The destination doesn't change. Them wanting to get there, that doesn't change. I mean, we've had a thought to do something, and then we had to maybe alter how it is that we're going to do it, but it's still our destiny or our ambition to get to what it is that we desire. The primary thing that was on our mind. We still want to get there, but we have to change how we're doing it or when we're going to do it. The chart offers up the same experience based on thinking, all right? Because the market is a decision place. That's all it is. The reference points are highs, lows, open, and close. I totally understand that part of it. But that's where it becomes tricky for most traders because they're looking at the market and they're not factoring in that it functions like us. And so when they put the targets out there, do understand that if they have intent on getting there, these guys will do it. I promise you they'll do it. And so that's why it's really important for us to trade fluidly with them because we have fluid intelligence, which allows us to adapt and adjust to information without anything prior being available, without any other prior knowledge. We can adapt and adjust. That's why we can read real time. And I want to prove it. We can read real time and we can stay right there with them if we remove anything that we thought beforehand. Now, I did give you a reference point of 7 candles because that number is important because it's math. It's a reason why 7 works. Now, you can go with whatever you want. I show people several times over. You can just use 1 candle and go for that if it's reasonable to, because it's a trend happening on another time frame. 1 candle, and so it's important, to know what's there. Now, in Jimmy's scenario, because he did say scenario, there's a scenario. If there's a scenario, that if is really the important part. If there's a scenario, so that means maybe that wasn't the case at the moment, but he wanted to ask or inquire, or maybe it actually was, and I'm just unaware of which time frame that he's on. And so I'm gonna do my best to satisfy your question, Lionstone, because you actually gave me a time frame, so I can definitely dive in there a little bit more. But I did try to accomplish satisfying Jimmy's question here because I told him the 7 candles down, the 4 that knocked it out. There was 4 higher that knocked it out because they never put the 7 candles back in that direction. Technically, they're still down. Okay, they're still headed back down. If they turned around and just went right back down, yeah, they're still down. They was trapping, and I did tell them structure traders. I mean, because that's everybody's thought process in the market. Hey, they broke a prior structure. They're in this trend now. No, that's not it. Professional traders know that. I know that. Everyone that does this, well, in this capacity, understand that that's not it. You don't let these guys just do something and automatically think that that's what they're going to do. No, absolutely not. Let them establish their intentions, their thinking. The thought is associated, and I told you that in the video. The thought is present with the destiny, the outcome. And so by letting them make that trend, they're telling you exactly the outcome. They're telling you how far they're willing to go. Now, here's the hard part. When they remove the thought, that doesn't mean that they're not serious about the primary goal. They actually want to hit that target. And so that's why I'm telling you this. Now, here you have a different scenario because you actually told me they made the 7 on both sides. Well, they made 8 down, red candles, and then they made 7 back up. And so this is a little different because now you got reiteration from the larger trend that was on the chart. There's a reiteration coming on. Now, remember, I told you it's like literature. You got to read it like literature from the title to the last remarks. They're able to reiterate that point, not just 4 candles back, in this direction. Let's knock this downtrend out really quickly, which is, if I'm correct about Jimmy's question, there was a downtrend that was still present, and they made, I guess, another downtrend within it, or possibly it was an uptrend. They knocked out the downtrend with the 4 candles, but still went back down. If that's the case, if they established another downtrend, then just go ahead and go with that downtrend to see if it can hold. Okay, I want to say that to Jimmy. See if it can hold. So if there was an uptrend prior, they made a downtrend, and then 4 candles knocked it out, then they're still up. But if they come back and make another downtrend, yes, go ahead and see if they can hold that downtrend and take out the larger context of the uptrend, which is kind of tying into Lionstone answer as well. If they made, I want to say this, I hope you can understand. I'm going to try to point it out on the chart for Lionstone because I do know what time frame he's referencing. I'm going to try to make sure I satisfy that question for you. There were 8 red candles, 7 bullish candles that came back up and took it out. But then they turned around and went and hit the downtrend target to the tick. Okay. Yeah. Let's go take a look at that. Okay. And so they're serious, so that's serious. Now, this is here. The previous described price action happened on a new 5-minute downtrend midpoint. Okay. So let's see. I want to make sure I'm reading all this right. Do we pay attention? Okay. Do we pay attention on the higher time frame? Yes, that is, yes, you can. The previous described price action happened on a new 5-minute downtrend midpoint. All right, so they were able to go up to the midpoint on the 5-minute chart. If I'm gathering all of this correct, I tried to respond based on what I were able to retain at the moment. Again, I am involved in some other things as well, but I want to get up here and answer your question because it's simple. It's not really hard to, of course, disclose this information within a timely fashion. So I want to do that for you. All right, so yeah, that midpoint on that 5-minute chart may be the cause of why they were able to get that accomplished. All right, so they were probably able to get that accomplished. We're going to look at that. Let's take a look at it real quick. All right, so here earlier, that was when I made the video. They were right here, and we called for that 18,136. All right, so that's that 136. There's the pop-up, and of course, they're coming back this way. We want to see if they'll close above it. All right, so let's go with that. Now, Jimmy, I'm not sorry, not Jimmy, but Lionstone. Let me get your information because you actually told me exactly what time it happened, which is extremely helpful. 2 o'clock, 2:19. So 2:19. Let's go back there and take a look at what was going on at 2:19. So 2:19 was here. Okay, and you said they set a downtrend. I want to make sure I gather all of this information. This is the downtrend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's your 7. All right, so I'm going to try to answer this to the best of my ability for you in front of you so you can see what's likely. All right, now do keep in mind in the larger context. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to go up to the 5-minute. Let's go up to the 5-minute, and we're going to look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So now we got the 5-minute playing out here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 7. And so the center of the trend, on this 5 minute grabbed them guys and sent them right back out. All right, so now let's go back to our 1 minute. So you're right about that. That 5 minute chart is what turned it back around. And so having fractal analysis is relative if you want to kind of keep an eye on the larger picture. If you want to do that, you don't have to. I did show you in that video. I took a 15-second chart and just read a 15-second chart based on just what was happening on the 15-second, because it's fluid. And that's the main thing I want to tell you. It's not interval based. It's fluid. It's always moving. It'll move. It'll make a trend this way, make another trend that way. And you just have to stay in some regard current to what it is that they're suggesting. Okay, so if they suggested this, turn back around, yeah, you can count this 7, you can, but I'm going to tell you this, the larger context of this trend, if they're not going to hold the center of this downtrend here, they're still up. It's just that simple. So you don't really have to go and count this 7 again. You really don't. You can, but you don't have to. They're still working on this information from below. All right, so now if you look at the uptrend here, now keep in mind that's at that 136 I told you about a while ago. So now here we got these guys slick 1, 2, 3. That's 4. Here's 5 and 6, and there's 7. So if you go with this information here, okay, you can pretty much know if they were going to turn around and go back up, that it should look something to this effect. It should. All right, now they got fairly close, not all the way, but got close enough. But then they ended up making it. So it's over here. They ended up making it. So they ended up getting that distance as well as this one here. So there's a, if you just try to keep in mind that the market is like you. It's like you and everyone else on this earth. When it comes to a primary or secondary goal, because all of us function based on that, we'll go for something. If we can achieve it, absolutely, we wanted that first. But if we can't have that, what we do, we settle for something lesser than in value, to us. And so that's what ended up happening. They played the clock against you. That's all. And so the clock is the 5 minute. Okay, so now let's go back to our 5 minute. And I hope this explanation satisfies your question as well as others. I hope it really does, and get you guys really focused in on what's happening. What is it that these guys are always doing and willing to do? So now let's take and look at the 5 minute, just the bigger picture of this 5 minute. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 7 here. So we got 7 here. And they're always doing this. I can assure you they're doing this, and it's math. It's math. It's math. If I could tell you guys in the public, I would. I absolutely would tell you why it's important. I would. But I can't. And it's unfortunate, but don't worry about it. Trust the information. Look at the chart. Not me. Trust the information, because the chart is offering you information. Just trust it. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 7. So that's 7. They can go the distance of that 7 back down. So now let's take a look at that really quickly here. I don't want to be before you long. Again, I'm kind of in something right now, but I like to answer questions. That's important. So they didn't quite get there, but again, here we go. Let's do this. Are they on their way back there? And that's something interesting that you got to consider. Are they on their way? Now the 7 was from here, the bottom of there. So the center of that is roughly here. Okay, so that's roughly here. Now we're on this 5 minute right now. I'm gonna try to break this down for you. Here's 7 here. Okay, that's 7 down. And so what they do is they frame out intentions, because have you ever had ambivalence of thought where you wanted to do 2 different things at the same time, but they were opposing ideas? You want to do this, but then that you're really supposed to do that, but you kind of want to do them both if you could. Well, the chart is somewhat offering that same kind of experience. I have it's doing us. It does exactly what we do. It does. It absolutely does. And so you have to be privy to the chart based on what's relative. And so what's relative is real time. And that's why I'm able to put this information in front of you and tell you the daily bias, the stuff that people are pushing online is not exactly how it works. It's a little bit more dynamic to that. Than that. And here's that blue bar, and they dove into it and they went up, and they've been playing with that zone here. Now I can remove this because that's just off of this bar. They pretty much gonna go through that uh, from what I'm seeing, unless they come back and engulf it. So you got this zone here and that zone there. All right. So I hope that satisfies your question. I wish you all the best with your trading. Take care.